Hello, thank you for joining me today. I'm Jan Clothier of Thinking Stamping and I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator based in New Zealand. And today I'm going to be sharing with you this card that I made with the Timeless Arrangements bundle because I wanted to share with you just how incredibly easy it is to get a real wow factor card with pretty much minimal effort, which is always the best thing, isn't it? When you can do something amazing and everyone thinks you'll spend hours and hours on it, and actually it was very quick and very easy. In fact, when I saw the Timeless Arrangements bundle in the catalogue, the 2023 to 2024 catalogue, I thought, oh, that looks a bit complicated. I don't know about that one. But anyway, as you can see, I did buy it and I have been proved wrong because in fact it is incredibly, incredibly easy. It is a photopolymer stamp set and it is, as you can see, it's got a huge amount of, or huge number of sayings that you can mix and match to create your own personalised sentiment. A lot of them are based around thank yous of various sorts, but one that I think is particularly useful in all sorts of scenarios is this one: hope your day is filled with everything good. That's not the one we're using today, but it's there and it really magnifies the uses of this set, I think. Now the bundle is interesting because here is what all of the different things in the bundle do. Obviously you've got 3 different size sentiment labels, and these ones match up with various stamps that you've got down here, the different foliages and leaves. But what really gives this set a lot of heft, in my opinion, are all these extra pieces. And when I first saw all these little bits, I go, what are they doing on a bar? Like, what's the business with that? Well, you'll soon see that that is what makes them incredibly, incredibly easy to use. So we'll crack on with what you need, and then I'll show you just how easy it is to make a really beautiful card with this Timeless Arrangements bundle. Now, as always, if you see something that I use today, like the stamp set, the papers, the embossing folders, whatever it is, and you live in New Zealand, please shop with me. There's a link to my online store in the video description below and through the end card notes as well. So, Timeless Arrangements is the bundle that we're using. Now, I have used for my base a plain white base made out of thick white, basic white cardstock. As always for me, it's metric, so it's half of an A4 piece of paper, so it's 21 centimetres that way, scored at 10.5, and I've cut it at 14.8. If you are not a metrics person but an imperial person, then just use your standard size card base, and all you really have to do is cut the card front 1/4 inch smaller. So, okay, so you've got the card base. You need 2 pieces of basic white, which are half a centimetre smaller than the card front, so 10 centimetres by 14.3. One is for the card front and one is for the inside of the card, which we don't need right now, so we can pop it aside. You will need another piece of paper this size, because you'll notice here, that I've got this column of embossing, and that's a very simple little thing to do, which just gives your card a little bit of variation. So I started with a piece like this, just a standard card front, and I just ripped it off. So here you can see, here's the bits that I ripped off. I just kind of all the way down on both sides, and then I ran this through the embossing folder. And the embossing folder that I used is the Exposed Brick 3D, which is one of the new ones from the 2023 catalogue. Now it is 14, I did in fact use exactly a card front like this so that I knew it was the right length, and then I just ripped off the sides and embossed it. Easy, nice bit of variety. Now to make all of this business in the middle, well, you need a little piece for the sentiment, and I've just stamped it in Memento black ink. I chose to do the thank you, and then as a separate stamp, I added on the very much, but obviously you could personalise it to be whatever sentiment you wanted it to be. Then I've cut it out with the middle size die, and I don't know, as you can see, but it not only gives you a stitched edge, but in the centre of each side there's a little X, which is quite a nice little touch, just gives it some variety. And after I had stamped the sentiment and die cut it, then I took this little stamp here and soft seafoam ink, and you might be able to see that I've just stamped a little bit over it in that soft seafoam just to add in a little bit of touch of colour that kind of carries through to the bouquet of flowers. Now the flowers themselves are stamped using that die, and I have coloured them with blends. So you need, I did 5 of them. As you can see, I just used some scrap and stamped 5, coloured them, and then die cut them out. And here they are, all ready for us to use. I coloured them with blends. I used soft seafoam for the leaf, and you might notice that there's some variations in colour. Some of them I did with light and dark bubble bath, and some of them I used a touch of fresh freesia in there as well, and some of them I used dark bubble bath and then some touches of light fresh freesia and a little bit of dark fresh freesia, just so that they didn't all look absolutely the same. So you need that, and then you need 3 kinds of green. Now the 3 greens that I used were, I used this die, which is that one, and I used Granny Apple Green, and I cut 2 of those. This die, and I cut 2 of those out of soft seafoam. And the 3rd die I used was that one, and I cut 2 of those out of Lemon Lime Twist. But as you can see, there are 4 different dies on the bar, and you could use any that you like. And in previous cards I've also cut out small bits of these and added them in as well. I'll show you them at the end if I remember. Okay, so the reason that this is all very quick and easy now is because it's simply a matter of gluing, pretty much. So all we have to do is we'll start by just assembling the card front. So a little bit of glue on the back of our embossed piece, and we'll just attach that to the card front. This gives us our nice column of embossing, and we'll attach that to the card front, and then that's done. Okay, we can pop that aside for now. Now, all we're really going to do with these is we are going to layer them up. So we're going to have that one, and this is what the bars are for. The bars make it easy to glue them together and hold them in place. So it's simply attach in whatever order you want. Obviously you can play around with the order that you want them, because they do look slightly different depending on, you know, what you put on the top and what you put on the bottom. But this is the way I did them, and you can see how very quick that is. And now you've got a lovely cluster of flower, a lovely little cluster of foliage that you can just pick up and pop wherever you want. And I'm doing 2 of them, and you'll see why in just a moment. Boom, boom, and finally, boom. And so the little bars actually take away all that fiddling and faddling that you often had to do with little pieces of die cut foliage to kind of hold them together while you manipulated them. So now we'll just move the dies out of the way because we don't need those anymore. And now it's just, where would we like them to go? There, maybe. And there. Okay, I'm going to start with one. Now I'm going to line that up on my grid paper. Now you notice that I have just put glue on the bar because I want the foliage to look like it's slightly lifting off the paper, like it's real foliage. If that bothers you, or you think that's a little bit flimsy, then of course by all means add some tiny dots of glue to the back of the foliage. It's entirely up to you if you do that. Now the reason I lined up the bottom of the card is so I've got a better idea of using these lines here, whether or not I'm going straight. Now because this is a textured surface, I'm just going to put a bit of pressure on that just so it's got time to get a good grip on. And you see I've got my sentiment here, which is going to go over the top. So I'm just going to now pop in the bottom one. I'm just going to let that tuck underneath. Okay. And again, because I've got a textured surface, I will just give that a bit of pressure. Okay. Now, is there anything I want to pick out before I carry on? Maybe we might get rid of that one. Okay. So now it is simply a question of where am I going to put my sentiment? Now you could just leave it like that, and I think that's actually really pretty as well. But I did decide to get a little bit carried away and add in some flowers. So I'm going to go for, I don't know what I'm going to go for. I think I'm going to go for 3 at the top corner again. And 2 at the bottom. See, I'm just playing at this stage, and this is what you would do too. You know, you'd get your flowers, you'd get your foliage, and you go, oh, how many am I going to put? Where am I going to put them? What am I going to do with them? How will they look? Now, at this point, you've got 2 choices. You can either attach the flowers to the foliage, or you can attach the flowers to the back of your sentiment. So I'm going to go, okay, I like that little cluster there. I'm going to just lift them off. I'm going to put some little dots of glue on the front, and then I'm just going to put my sentiment like that. Then we're going to do the same thing with these. I'm going to just lift them up because I'm happy with how they look. I'm going to put a bit of glue on the front, and then I'm just going to bring in my sentiment to where I want it. I can still, because I've used glue, I've got some wiggle time to just get them where I want. And now I can manipulate those as I like as well. And I think that I'm going to pop them on dimensionals. You don't have to. If you don't want them raised up, then just attach them directly to your foliage cluster. You know me, I do love my dimensionals. I'm being restrained, I'm only using 5. And I'll just flick the backs off those. Oops. As soon as I get on camera, I develop extra fumbly fingers. Okay. And now we can just work out where that's going to go. And we could leave it like that, but I think we will add in some bling. I'm going to add in some iridescent rhinestone jewels. Firstly, because they've got that soft and pretty look, which kind of goes with this card. But also I like the way they do tend to pick up colour from the things that they, their surroundings. So they'll pick up some of these pinky and purpley colours that are going on. Okay, so perhaps we'll have one up there and a big one down in there. Okay, and so there we have it, a very quick and easy wow factor thank you card made using the Timeless Arrangements bundle. I'll just show you what I did on the inside of this one. It's very simple. I simply took some of those little flowers and coloured them. You can see there that that one's just done in Bubble Bath, and that one is Bubble Bath mixed in with some fresh freesia as well, just to give it some variety. Other cards that I've made using this bundle, this one I stuck purely to Subtle's colours. So this one's made with Lost Lagoon, Pool Party and Soft Sea Foam, and I think the little brass butterflies work nicely with that set as well. And this one here is a variation on the card we've made today. You can see I've got that same little circle stamping on my sentiment. I've used that. I hope your day is filled with everything good. And the Fern 3D embossing folder isn't a column, it's the whole page. And the greens I've used from memory are Old Olive, Lemon Lime Twist, and Granny Apple Green. Yeah, and that was done with Moody Mauve, one of the new in colours. So as you can see, this card, this set has got endless variations that can be used, and if you would like to own it and you live in New Zealand, please shop with me. It's the link to my online stores in the video description below. As always, I'm always happy to answer questions, and you can leave me questions in the comments, or you can contact me through my Jan Clothier Independent Stamping Up Demonstrator Facebook page or my blog Thinking Stamping. If you've liked what you've seen today and you haven't subscribed already, please do so you don't miss anything new that I do. And above all else, everyone, happy stamping.